Today it is time for what some people, not me of course, I would never do such a thing, but for what some people are calling the best game of StarCraft 2 in 2022. I definitely did not title like 4 videos in under 3 weeks, like 2 months ago, best game of the year, 2021. I definitely didn't do that, right? Anyways, from what I've heard, at the very least, this particular Terran versus Protoss on 2000 atmospheres is an absolute banger. So we're gonna find out exactly what ended up going down between these two players. So spotting here in the top right corner of the map, playing with the blue Terran SUVs from South Korea, we have none other than GuMiho. Now, I know that I featured GuMiho quite literally yesterday on the YouTube channel as well, when he went up against Armani in a Terran versus Zerg. Usually, I try to keep a little bit more time in between, you know, featuring the best players, but I heard that this game is really good, and honestly, I don't really care. His opponent, playing with the red Protoss probes from South Korea, we are looking at none other than Classic's main Nexus. Classic apparently a little bit concerned that he's gonna get cheesed right here. GuMiho definitely not afraid to build a couple of structures on the other side of the map, so Classic has been looking pretty much everywhere. Now, judging by the fact that both players are building their structures inside of the main, I think we got a little bit of time to talk, and in my case, to rant. Today, I'm ready for some good StarCraft 2, okay? Today, it is not off to a great start. I woke up like an hour and a half or so ago at this point, and I went downstairs, I turned on the coffee machine, and I decided it was about time to fill up my cats' food bowls, right? So they're obviously very excited about the whole ordeal. They jump up and down the kitchen countertop where I've got my bag of cat food, and it turns out that one of them was so excited that he tipped over the entire bag of cat food. He then proceeded to absolutely freak out, scratch up my right arm pretty badly. It was bleeding for a good amount of time, which wasn't great, and obviously the cat food was all over the floor. Took me about 10 minutes to clean up, not ideal. Cat's still freaking out, but eventually they got food, so they kind of calmed down. So what happened next is I decided to sit down on the couch, right, with my cup of coffee in hand, very excited about it. I was like, okay, this is not a good start of the day, but you know what? We can still reset it, right? So right as I sit down in the middle of the couch, I have to sneeze. Probably also due to the cats, for what it's worth. Anyways, yeah, I managed to spill coffee all over myself. Very hot coffee as well. Also over my right arm once more. It's not a great start of the day, okay? So I'm about ready for some top-level StarCraft. My cats were very sweet afterwards, though. They decided to just purr in my lap for a little while. Which was nice enough, I suppose. Anyways, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now we... Okay, anyways. What do we have right here, Mr. GuMiho? What are we doing? We're gonna go for a Cyclone right here, following this up with a second Barracks. Okay. Not at a very conventional start here. The one Stalker just walked across as well, and it's like, you know what? I guess if I... Don't mind if I do. I guess if I can go ahead and grab myself one of those SCVs, I will go ahead and do so. At this point, though, the Cyclone is out. Yeah, that becomes a little bit more dangerous. Jimmy... Wow, laughs in the face of danger. Realized that there was no way he was gonna die as long as his buddy was... Whoa, is this guy driving backwards? Total badass Cyclone over here. We're gonna go for another Cyclone? Triple Barracks Cyclone opener. Yeah, instant turnaround. Very nicely done. Siege tanks can learn from that. Anyways, a little bit of a strange start right there by GuMiho, rather, but I guess we can expect that because it's GuMiho. He likes to do so. Classic opening up with Phoenixes over here, which... How many Cyclones are we gonna make? It should work out quite well, right? I mean, at this point, GuMiho has absolutely no idea about the Stargate. As a matter of fact, he doesn't even know if there's an opponent on the other side of the map, although I guess it's safe to assume so. Protoss thinking about taking a third base, but I mean, this is good, right? This is really good for Protoss. If Terran is gonna just put all of their, early game resources into a bunch of Cyclones, and those Cyclones essentially do nothing. Oh god. Yeah, that is really rough. So 4 Cyclones. Are we just gonna keep pumping them out? And then as a follow-up, we're gonna go 5 or 4 Marines rather at once. Not going for a second tech lab over here because I guess he doesn't have the gas for it, at least for a little while, yeah, I guess now the Cyclones are just going to be used defensively. Anyways, to go for the combat shield upgrade is what I was going to say, because you need to make sure you live Apparently prioritizing the +1 infantry weapons. Very awkward beginning right here for GuMiho, and it definitely doesn't put him in a very good position at all, because now Protoss is going to be able to get a third base up, completely uncontested. Obviously, those Phoenixes are still flying around in the air as well. They are looking to pick up siege tanks and cyclones and whatever else they can, and it's going to make it very difficult here for Gumi to be able to go for a move out. Jimmy! No! That was Jimmy, bro! Wow, classic. Wow, dude. That was like a Terran mascot. That guy, he laughed in the face of danger and then proceeded to scout the entire top left-hand corner of the map, and he just killed him. Anyways. Alright, so there's the combat shield coming up. Eventually, I guess, GuMiho is transitioning towards a more conventional army. Classic. Hello. Yeah, he doesn't have blink or anything yet. That was a... that was an overextension as well. If there's one theme that I've... Oh... What? Really? We're gonna stim again. I feel like that Stalker could have already been dead. Anyways, now half of that Terran army over here is also, well, at orange health. Guess eventually there will probably be some medevacs out. That's gonna make life a little bit easier. Anyways, if I noticed anything, though, over the last couple of months, whenever people say, Lowko, this is the game of the year, right? Which evidently has happened a bunch of times. I think calling something a game of the year in February, though, is maybe a little bit on the early end of things. But what I have noticed is that usually those games are a little bit chaotic. Right? If both players play perfectly, it's hard to be like a game of the year material, if that makes any sense. Alright. Yeah, so far, we've seen a bunch of mistakes here from both players. Losing 5 Stalkers there. I feel like, well, the 1 Stalker at the beginning of the game was justified, but the other 4? Maybe not quite ideal. Anyways. There's 3 shield batteries over here for Classic. I actually quite like this positioning, so even if Terran decided to not come in from the right side, which is what they usually do, these batteries over here should still cover this, you know, this ramp over here as well. Normally, though, we have siege tanks with this sort of army, right? So now we've got a couple of awkward Cyclones, I guess, still left over. Or at least one. Yeah, you can push in with just Marine Marauder, of course. But maybe some Widow Mines, especially once charge is done, which I think it actually may already be, yeah. It's gonna be quite hard to get much done. Anyways, GuMiho just transitioning right now towards the third base. Interestingly enough, does grab the supply lead right now. Didn't feel like that good of a start at all. 4 Cyclone triple barracks with 1 reactor and then 1 tech lab. Mules knew that they were gonna be next. Okay, that's pretty good here for the Terran player, I guess. A couple of Widow Mines in the edge of the main base, guarding the perimeter. Still, Phoenix is quite beefy. They can actually live through one of those hits. Yeah, it's picking up whatever they can. There's a bio army out. Apparently GuMiho gave the executive order to just go straight across the map. Don't bother defending the SCVs at home. If they're wasting their energy over there, it means we don't get picked up. It's a good idea, I suppose, assuming GuMiho can actually deal some damage over here. Protoss right now, okay, kind of out of position here for a little bit. These Widow Mines are so critical, and they actually do not really get any hits in whatsoever. That being said, it's just Zealots. Okay, well, some force fields as well, I suppose. Nice pickup right there by Gumi. Phoenixes have come back home, and I think there might just be enough Protoss here in the end anyways. Yeah, bit of a sketchy unit composition here for Protoss, but it reminds me a bit of, like, Corsair Dark Templar, or I guess Corsair Zealot in StarCraft 1. Theoretically speaking, very good unit comp. And obviously, Zealots don't really mess around. Very strong. Alright, follow-up right now from Classic is going to be a Robo base. So we're going to go from Zealots, the lowest tier unit, straight towards, like, well, I guess one of the highest tier units. Second Robo facility comes up as well. I'm assuming this is going to be Colossi. Alright, well, apparently Classic. Really? We're gonna go for a move out straight towards the Terran's third? One of the medevacs right there does blow up. Good set of force fields as well. And actually, this is working out way better than I thought it would. Okay, 1 missile turret right there. Casually guns down. The missile turret guy, man. Also laughing in the face of danger. Maybe that's where Jimmy got reincarnated. Anyways, the missile turret guy gunned down a observer. Somehow, some way, lives through it as well. Now gets patched up once again by an SCV. Yeah, I think eventually this Protoss army will be pushed back, but now it's expensive though, right? That's a lot of, well, like 3 sentries going down there. It's not cheap. Oh, nice pickup once again. Yeah, Widow Mine count though, slowly growing. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, I was gonna say, there's no way. It's a literal minefield there. Alright, yeah, that was a huge overextension right there by Classic. Second one of this game for what it's worth. Anyways, there's still shield batteries, and now we've got lasers as well in the form of a Colossus. +2/+2 coming up here for GuMiho. Alright, +1/+1 here as well for the Protoss player, so... I'm always impressed that the players do still find resources to... You know, it's obviously their jobs to do so, right? But they still find the resources to actually start up those upgrades, because they're by no means expensive, and neither... Or by no means cheap, and neither are the structures. Widowmine drop over here, ready to seal the deal. GuMiho! There's one Widowmine over here. Yeah, 3 probes, definitely manageable. At the same time, though, Terran has loaded up the Metavex and goes straight into the main base. This is obviously where a lot of that production is at. So already a bunch of these units and structures will be targeted down. And that's the cybernetics core gone. At this point, I guess more Zealots is the only thing that Protoss can really aim for. Well, Zealots and Colossi, I suppose. Terran is now also making a beeline for what seems to be the Protoss' 3rd and 4th base. He now sees the 4th base, instantly stims forward. He's going to be able to take that out, no problemo. Units in the main base still being a nuisance. I think he pretended he was going to leave here for a little bit. Yeah, eventually I think Classic is going to be able to push all of this back. These Widow Mines, by the way, there's no detection over here. They're going to get... okay, there's detection right now. They're going to be able to get another shot in. That Colossus running so low on health. Hold up. I'm going to back. Did I just see that Colossus getting target fired down by the other Colossi? I mean, for what it's worth, there's a lot of other things happening. Oh! No. It was the Widow Mine after all. Okay, it was the Widow Mine after all. That was a little bit awkward there. I thought for a second those other 2 Colossi were betraying the Protoss. Not quite the case. Alright. A lot of chaos here. I mean, that wasn't a cheap set of units for the Terran player to lose either, though. 76 Marines have already gone down at this stage in the game. I wouldn't want to be a Marine in the army of GuMiho, man. He clearly does not care. Alright, are we going to be making a transition towards anything else, Gumi? God, that's a lot of juicy income right over here. Nope, 7 probes end up going down as well. I'm assuming... was that a transfer? Ugh. Transfer to what? Anyways. Maybe it wasn't. Yeah, we don't really have an army that's very good against Colossi just yet. I wouldn't mind seeing a couple more Vikings, because at this point it's only 2. There's already 4 Colossi. 5th Colossi joins the battlefield as well. Marauders are obviously pretty good against Colossi as well, but they have a lot more ranged, so they're going to be able to zap down a lot of those Marauders quite confidently. Okay. GuMiho is extremely far ahead right now, by the way. Nearly 70 supply up on his opponent. Some of that is in workers, but this is still a scary Protoss army, though. I mean, the Terran army right now, okay, trying to create a sandwich, but some of that army, okay, for the attack over here is way too late. Good set of force fields over here as well. The Protoss army is actually cleaning up the army on the right side. Is there enough right now as well for Protoss to clean up the leftover units? My god, some really good control here as well with that Prism, picking up the weakened Colossi as they were about to fall. And it means they stay alive for a lot longer. The Terran units are forced to retarget. Still though, there's a lot of reinforcements coming up. The Colossi are running so dangerously low in health. My god! Did Classic just win that fight while 70 supply behind? Those Colossi. 20, 15, 9. The other one at 9 as well. I think this one, I don't know if they shoveled around. But anyways, there's like 100 kills combined on these guys. They don't mess around. Quite literally the size of skyscrapers according to the StarCraft lore. So I guess they deal some damage. In the meantime, Jimmy over here, wow, single-handedly took care of a robo facility, but of course, Zealots, they have blades for arms, they don't really care. Drop inside of the main base once again. Protoss is gonna continue onwards in this direction right now. Don't mind if I do, he says once again. This time around, there's a little bit more than just one SCV right here on the low ground, but if he can get on top of that Terran production, I mean, a Colossi can quite literally just walk in there. Are we gonna go into a base race right now? Because it kind of seems like it. Both players using a huge, or losing a huge amount of units here. Not a whole lot of anti-air available for the Protoss player here, but at the very least, yeah, there's still enough to at the very least push back whatever air unit wants to deal damage to those Colossi and that Prism. Actually, is the Prism still there? No, the Prism eventually, the true hero there of the Protoss, did end up going down. GuMiho getting rid of all the pylons inside of the main base of the Protoss player, so he knows there's not going to be that much more as a follow-up. Marauders here will be able to live through the lasers for a little while. One of the Colossi, two of the Colossi do end up going down. Vikings still dealing damage wherever they can. A third Colossus might actually get picked off as well, but these units have certainly paid for themselves. There he goes. Colossus going to the surface right there of 2,000 at most. Oh god, okay. Yeah, I see why you guys are calling this game of the year, because it definitely has the potential. The only problem is that it's February. Well, maybe you're watching this in the future. My god. Yeah, and then maybe now it's a little bit of an overextension. I wouldn't have minded seeing a recall, right? He wants to see if he can just kill the units that pop out of the unit, or out of these structures as they pop out, right? Just because that makes life a little bit easier. Eventually, though, some heavy hitters were created at home as well, and Classic does push back. A little hit squad there that was supposed to, I guess, well, kill the Natural Expo as well if he was given enough time. Alright. And obviously, Terran structures can fly. The majority of them can. Engineering base used to be able to do so as well, but apparently they lost that ability for some reason. There's probably a good lore reason as to why that happened. Anyways. This is nice, though, for Gumi right now. Look at that, man. That's full energy right there on that orbital command. I wouldn't mind seeing some mules going down. I guess he might be concerned about a potential, like, Dark Templar transition or something along those lines. But, yeah, more units is better than less units in these sorts of situations, for sure. Alright. New gateways produced. Classic falling back right here to the safety of the shield batteries. There's not really a whole lot of shield batteries, though, in the Natural Expo, and GuMiho has realized that at this point as well. He's moving forward, still needs to be so cautious. Wants to go to the main base. Once again, there's one Stalker ready to gun down whatever he can. A couple of Archons are being morphed in, and I kind of love it. I think Archons are going to be fantastic, since obviously there's a relatively small Terran army over here. These Archons should be able to, yeah, regenerate their shields several times. They're usually the ones that stand tall, even after a pretty long battle. And if you can use them several times, I think it makes a lot of sense. Prism comes up as well, so more micro potential right there. Observer here did end up going down. Alright, there's the Ghost Academy. GuMiho feeling the heat, thinking that Marines, Marauders, and Medivacs aren't really gonna cut it. He still has a huge chunk of army over here, though. Yeah, Protoss doesn't really have the luxury here to split up their units. Terran, okay, yeah, he's gonna go into the main base once again for, well, I guess, round 2 of the base trade? Because this is certainly gonna trigger Classic to go across as well, right? Yeah. I mean, he's already there. He could obviously recall. I wouldn't mind seeing some energy saved up in the Natural to try and go for a recall. Obviously, though, with GuMiho splitting up his army, yeah, he doesn't really have a whole lot right here available to go in for the engagement. Classic is, well, back inside of the main base of the Terran player for the second time in this game. And instead, right now, the leftover units that were hiding at the third base are going to be sent on over towards the third base of the Protoss player. Terran structures, though, they can still fly. Yeah, Natural Expo right now in a little bit of trouble as well. I think it bears repeating that the win condition for a game of StarCraft 2 is to kill all of your opponent's structures. Okay, here's the recall. Not everything was recalled. Interestingly enough, only... it's a chunk of the army, but I don't know if that was the correct move, to be honest. SCVs right now coming in from the side as well, trying to soak up as many of those Archon hits as they can. Tons of them end up going down here. Good set of force fields, but all the shield batteries were already destroyed. I think Classic should have actually recalled a couple more of his units. Anyways, there comes the Prism, picks up the weakened Archon as well. There's so much damage output though in this Terran army. I think Classic got a little bit too greedy there. He wanted to leave half of his army behind to try and still defend his third base. I think with a battery overcharge, he could have pulled it off. Instead, right now, these units that were once again coming back home, they are forced to now, I guess, try and finish the game? Not really something I think that is going to go all too well. I mean, at this point, Protoss doesn't have a Nexus anymore. He's also got 0 workers. All that GuMiho needs to do is stabilize. Okay, Classic at this point is revealed, meaning that all of his structures right now are showing up on the minimap. This is something that GuMiho can see. He knows where the final structures of the opponent are. Man, I don't like this very much. That planetary fortress being repaired as well. Here come the Terran units, ready to obtain the victory. And eventually, it is GuMiho who wins this epic game of StarCraft 2. Hey, if you made it all the way until the very end of this one, please do me a favor, hit that like button down below. Thank you very much.